I'm ready when you are. Let's do this.
So, I want to describe some art to you.
We're going back to guessing games. Great.
This is from Dungeons & Dragons module X2
Oh.
for the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Expert Set.
Yep.
Okay?
Should I grab that module real quick?
Do you have it?
Not with me, no.
I actually have it at home.
I might have that one too.
So, there's a giant gray-skinned, balding with long hair giant
Yep.
holding what looks to be part of a tree in his right hand. In his left hand, it's outreached towards the picture taker.
Mm-hmm.
And it is crushing a castle turret.
Yep.
There's guards running along the ramparts, freaking out.
Yep.
And it is blue sky backdrop with a little bit of clouds.
What color is the book again? Is it yellow?
Orange.
Orange. Okay, yeah.
So, this was designed by Tom Moldvay.
Yep.
Big, huge name in classic D&D. Moldvay D&D.
Sure.
So, in this module, the player characters enter a haunted mansion and encounter monsters that are new to the whole Dungeons & Dragons experience. Okay. They're drawn into a cursed castle surrounded by deadly mist and must navigate the demented and often hostile inhabitants, which, fun fact, all are basically relatives.
Right.
And they have to break this curse. Breaking the curse requires finding the interdimensional tomb of Stephen Amber. The model is inspired by the ever-running stories of Clark Ashton Smith, Edgar Allan Poe's works, and Roger Zelazny's The Chronicles of Amber series. It was ranked as the 15th greatest Dungeons & Dragons adventure by Dungeon Magazine in 2004. This is Castle Amber.
Yep.
Or Chateau d'Amberville.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember it as Castle Amber, but yeah.
This is one of my first experiences ever with a module in D&D.
Okay.
And it's stuck with me for as long as I can remember.
Right.
From the very first encounter, the boxing match.
Yep.
It's a literal boxing ring, and the strongest member of the party has to go in and fight this guy. Right. To the statues that if you touch them, you can get extra strength, you can become cursed forever. To the meal that you eat that gives you benefits or negatives depending upon what courses of the meal you eat.
Right.
To the giant gardens in the middle of the castle that you get lost in.
They remade that one.
They did for 5th edition.
Did they?
Yeah, they did all of.
Was it an aftermarket or was it?
It was. I think. Was it Kobold Press that did all those?
Okay, that could. Well, yeah.
They did Keep on the Borderlands.
Oh, so they did do it. Okay.
In the big thick books, and it had the original
inside of it too. Yep.
And the 5th edition,
the revised. Yep.
So the topic I want to talk about is most memorable / favorite D&D modules.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So I started out with Castle Amber because it's...
Well, that's pretty... Yeah. It's not as popular as the one I'm thinking of.
It's not one of the most popular ones, but I feel like if you played it, you remembered it.
It is a
you
good
remembered
one.
it.
Yeah, I do. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, of course. I mean,
the other one I want to talk about is the Super Module. The OG.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
The Beast of the Beasts. So it starts out with the village of Hamlet and the Keep on the Borderlands.
Yeah. Yeah, it just moves right on into...
And you set up base in this keep, and eventually it works into Against the Slave Lords.
Yep.
And the Temple of Elemental Evil. Mm-hmm. And then it builds into Against the Giants.
Yep.
And this whole time, you're facing this big bad evil guy that never shows their face.
Right.
Well, lo and behold, when you finally get into the Q series of the modules...
then you find out.
It's the Demon Queen Lulz.
Yep.
And you end up in the Demon Web Pits. And it's this epic adventure that takes you from level 0 in the case of Cavaliers.
Yep.
All the way theoretically up to level 20.
Yeah, I think we pretty much went there, and then I think we use expanded rules to go farther. Because, I mean, there's just... Once you hit her and you're in the abyss, the world opens up to even more high-level content.
Because you've entered extraplanar travel.
Right, yeah, you've went from 0... You played these characters so long, you don't want to quit now.
Right.
Even if you do fight her and push her away and keep the events from happening.
And I like how it says in the module, too, that it's expected that players are to die in the battle with Lulz.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've spent probably years, like physical, literal years in real life playing this game.
Oh, yeah.
And you expect to lose characters.
I actually lost one of my favorite characters there. I actually had first edition Bard that I was working on.
Oh, wow.
And I lost him there. It's pretty rough. Well, I mean, it's just rough. I don't even remember what got me. Pretty sure it was some kind of nasty spell, though. And I was flying away with winged boots, I believe I had.
Okay.
And I was escaping the combat because the stuff you fight in the Abyss is just horrid. And my paladin and the priest were... Basically, priest and paladin were doing their thing.
Yep.
Keeping each other alive.
Yep.
To nuke and kill. And I figured they'll probably make it. And so I'm like, I'm fighting, but I'm like, no heals from them guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my few wizard spells I have as a bard back then, because you had to take Fire Thief and a bard.
Yeah.
Or Fighter Mage. Wait, no, Fighter? No, yeah, it was Fighter Thief
Druid.
Wizard. Was it Druid?
It's Druid.
Okay, yeah. So I remember there were some spells involved anyway. And I remember I just couldn't keep up, so I had to take off, and then I got nuked out of the sky.
Yep.
And that was it. That was the end of my character. They brought him back, but...
I think my favorite part of that module was probably against the Giants.
Yeah, because I think that was the first time, if I recall correctly, like in the Borderlands, the Keep, and even the Slave Lords, there wasn't, like, the loot was okay.
Yeah.
But in the Giants...
Yeah, the Giants is where the
you
loot
turned
really
the corner, and there was just piles of loot.
gold.
The Giants were just loot-hoarding freaks, whether it was gold or magic items. I mean, I got some of my favorite magic items I ever got were out of them. Mm-hmm. It was so good. Yeah, it's hard to forget those.
So those are contenders for my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones I want to talk about, there are, believe it or not, as much as we dislike whatever talk about 5th edition, there have been some absolutely phenomenal modules.
Dragon Heist.
Dragon Heist comes to mind for me.
I think Dragon was one of my favorite ones too.
One of the best designed modules.
That's really good. It is a really good module.
And just a pro tip, if you're looking for a good module, I'm going to throw one name out there. Mm-hmm. And he's usually behind some of the best modules.
Yep.
His name is Chris Perkins.
Yep.
If you want a good module from Dungeons & Dragons, check out what Chris Perkins has done.
Yep.
Because if you find his stuff, it is usually very, very good.
Right.
He also created, I think, possibly even more iconic than Dragon Heist in 5th edition, The Curse of Strahd.
Well, to be fair, that was something that's been going on for many years.
Right, but the way that he did Curse of Strahd and the way that module was designed was close to perfect.
Yeah. I actually don't think I've played it in 5th Ed yet.
I've run it. I've played in it. And I've watched playthroughs of it.
Yeah, I don't think I've done any of it so far in 5th Ed. I played it in 2nd and 1st and whatever else, but
I've been equally entertained in all forms of it.
It's a fun setting. It for sure is. I'm going to go back to Dragon Heist.
Yeah, let's go back to Dragon Heist. Yeah.
As a player, I've never played a Dragon Heist, but as a DM, I DM'd. That was the first module I DM'd for 5th Ed.
Okay.
And I started that. That was the first time I actually DM'd anything real in the store for 5th Ed. And so I hadn't DM'd in a long time, at least for anything real. And my players were so sad when that was over.
Yeah.
Because it was such a well-made, and I didn't even, I kind of winged it initially. Because it's so well-made, you don't really need to.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What boss did you go with?
We went with Manchun.
Manchun.
Yeah, that was Manchun. Yep. No, was it?
Because there's 4 bosses.
Yep.
You can pick.
There's Manchun. There's the Beholder. Xanathar. There was the boat. The guy on the boat. Jarlaxle. And then who's the 4th one?
It was the Noble family.
The Neverwinter. Oh yeah, the Noble. Oh no,
Not
yeah.
No.
I know. Yep. No, I'm pretty sure we were Manchun.
The Cult of Asmodeus and the Castellanters.
Yeah, we went with. I'm pretty sure I was with Manchun, but at the end, because the way the group had played out, I had Xanathar show up and cause some trouble too. I think it might even been an option in the game because I think if you looked at Xanathar's path, you could go all the way to Skullport or Skullport, yeah, Skullport in the book. But I think at one point it might be part of the module. I'm kind of phasey because I had to wing it at the end there a little bit. I think I had the Beholder show up Xanathar, but I think it was just not him literally. It was like an illusion of him.
Okay.
And to chase away Manchun at the end from causing some kind of chaos that was getting to be kind of shady because the way my players had got to that point, they were on the verge of complete annihilation, and they were having so much fun. I would have felt bad to just have the whole end of the campaign be they all die.
So what I did with Dragon Heist, I've ran it twice.
Yep.
First time I ran it kind of by the book, and I used the Xanathar as my boss.
Right.
The second time I did it was with a new group of players. Sorry, no. The first time I ran it was with the new group of players. Right. Second time I ran it with a group that had already been playing for a while.
Yep.
And they had 5th level characters.
Nice. Good. So yeah, let's see. You can start that out like that.
What I did was I used all 4 bosses.
Oh, and just intertwined them a little bit.
Intertwined them and had the different
faction wars,
wars going on. But ultimately, the final endgame boss was Jarl Axel.
Yep.
And I used a shape-shifting Jarl Axel.
Nice.
One of the party members that was in the periphery, like one of the people that was helping the party the whole time, was Jarl Axel the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, he's kind of a tricky sucker
reveal to my players was like the most mic drop moment I've ever had in any game. They were so surprised that it was Jarl Axel. Right. Like, they could not believe it. And then they started putting 2 and 2 together, and they're like, holy shit, it all makes sense.
That's because that module was so well written that you can modify it to make it like that. That's how the end game was when they met the old dude in the cavern in the treasure room.
Oh,
the players are like,
master?
Yeah, the dungeon master. Yeah, exactly. They met dungeon master in there, and they were all like talking, and then they find out he's a dragon, and they're like, what?
Yeah,
they were just dumbfounded.
Aurum something?
Yeah,
a gold dragon.
Yeah. Ancient gold dragon had been there for however long he'd been there.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many memorable moments in that module.
Yeah.
Everything from Durnan in the Yawning Portal.
Yeah,
right away.
That ties you in with so much lore in Faerun itself.
And then you get to meet Volo.
Yeah, you're in Waterdeep, of course.
You're in Waterdeep.
Yeah, you meet Volo. You meet Yawning Portal.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many little Easter eggs in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
The other one is the baby dragon, or the young dragon living in the harbor, the bronze dragon.
Yep.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Or
the Black Staff.
Yep.
The wizard that protects Waterdeep. Getting to meet her and working with her. It's part of the Greyhounds. Yep. And there were so many branches you could go down.
Yep.
We used the mailbox system. So they would get, because they own the house in Troll Skull Manor.
Troll Skull Manor, yep.
And
actually had somebody make that.
They would get mail. Nice. From the different missions.
From the different factions and stuff,
so
too,
They got to choose what they wanted, and I kept faction levels with all of them. I kind of went by the book the second time around for all that. And it just made it so interesting. It showed who helps them in the end, all this and that. Dragon Heist, phenomenal.
So good.
Absolutely.
So good.
I wouldn't call it a perfect module.
No, but
it's easily 8 or 9 out of 10.
Right.
Which for modules is very good.
It was very good. It was, I think anybody, if you're a new DM and you want a module to run, that introduces you to factions, it introduces you to city building, it introduces you to chase scenes, because there's like whole chase scenes, and they break it down step by step. You have the mechanics. Which is in the, I think it's in the DMG has the chase mechanics in them too also. Yeah. But if you're not reading the DMG all the time, you're not going to know about those. And lots of times you won't use them, but they put it in the module so you will use them as a chase. You know, the horse buggy cart comes out in front of the bad guy or in front of you.
2 people with a pane of glass.
Yeah, it's like, it's really cool. And they did all that, I think, to introduce you. And when my players were done, before we were done, one of my players was like, hey, this is my first time playing 5th Ed. This is the best module, and you're the best DM I've ever had.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm not the best DM you've ever had, but I'll take it for now. Right. And it was their favorite adventure they'd ever been in.
Yep. And it's a great first one for people.
Yeah. And in the end, it's good for advanced too, because in the end, they give you enough knowledge. Like in the end, I had the city come under fire because I was tying in my world events.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I had the city Waterdeep come under attack. If you know Waterdeep lore, that there's statues that protect Waterdeep. When stuff hits the fan, the statues basically rise up. Well, there was only one left in the module, I think, and basically defend at all costs, even at the cost of losing the city. they will defend the city at the cost of destroying everything.
Yeah.
And I had that happen, and my players were just like, what is going on? These giant statues started just annihilating everything. It was so good.
So we've talked quite a bit about Dragon Heist.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's an amazing model.
It's earned it.
It's earned it. I would like to talk about some other ones quickly.
Sure. No, not that one. Okay.
So let's talk about one that we've both ran. I don't think either of us have completed it. Mostly due to player deaths.
Probably.
Just the absolute meat grinder that it is.
It's a horrible nightmare. I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking
Tomb of
about.
Annihilation.
Yeah.
This is definitely not a beginner module.
I played that one. I've DM'd and played that one in 2nd ed, and I also DM'd it in 5th.
Yeah, I remember playing the first edition one, the Tomb of Annihilation. Or Tomb of Horrors.
Yes, yeah, they call it different, but it's the same.
It's
the same freaking thing. Just
one of
terrifying,
probably my favorite
horrible
bad guy in all of
I use
Acererak.
I use him in my world. He's my world. I don't want to say bad guy because I don't use him as a bad guy.
He's the equivalent of the D&D Joker.
yeah. I use him as a neutral guy that just screws with whatever he wants. He does what he wants. He literally could become a god, but
he's so powerful that he's bored.
Yeah.
And that's his driving mechanic, and that's so compelling to me.
Yeah. Yes, the Tomb of Annihilation or Tomb of Horrors, depending on what you call it. You guaranteed you're going to lose players.
And there's so many little Easter eggs in it too.
Gosh, yeah,
like hints and allusions to
everything.
Yeah.
I like the way 5th. I can't remember a lot about the first 2nd ed 1 version of it because I don't actually.
It was very short.
It was short. Well, yeah, it didn't have to be long.
Nope, and there was many false entrances, lots of insta-death traps.
Yep.
It was designed by Gary Gygax, the creator of D&D,
right, to
be a test for parties who thought that they had their shit together.
Right.
And he kept it in his briefcase when he went to conventions. And if he ever came across people who were like, yeah, we're really good at this.
Oh, okay.
He would run Tomb of Horrors.
We'll see how good you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I don't... okay, so that the second ed, the basic version, whatever it is, I don't remember what
it was. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
When it came out in Advanced, it was very specific. Now, if you come to 5th, there's a whole world. You're in Chult.
Which is this, like, South America...
dinosaurs, essentially.
Amazonian
jungle.
Yeah.
Which in itself, I thought was a really well-written module.
Yeah, very, very well written.
I think you start off in a city... Oh, I don't think I know.
And I'm pretty sure Chris Perkins was the mind behind that.
That could be. You start off in a city, you do some dino racing, you get introduced to, like, some Arab-type people, because I don't know how else to describe them. You know how you got, like, the Saudi princes and stuff? But you got, like, the jungle princes. Like, I can't think of... They reminded me of Saudi princes and the Arab princes. And then you went trudging. If you wanted to grind, that was a grind. There's lots of... Chult is so big and so much stuff in it. You could literally spend multiple characters' lifespans just exploring.
So, I want to talk a little bit about the creation of Tomb of Annihilation.
Okay.
So, lead designer was Chris Perkins.
Okay, yeah, of course. Makes sense. It was a good module.
And many other juggernauts of the industry in it.
Right.
We have Will Doyle, Steve Winter, and Adam Lee.
Okay.
Story consulting. So Christopher Perkins talked about this in an interview. I remember watching this.
Okay.
They thought that the module was so dark and twisted and difficult that they needed someone to bring in some lightness and...
That helps, yeah.
Some humor to it.
Yep.
You know who they got?
No.
Pendleton Ward.
Okay.
Pendleton Ward is the creator of the animated series Adventure Time on Cartoon Network.
Jeez. Okay. Well, that would explain some of it.
And they brought him in, and it was just a smashing success.
I wonder if that's why they had the teleporting T-Rex.
I would not doubt it.
Because my players almost died.
Yeah, I would not doubt
I don't even remember his name right off the top of my head. But I remember they were fighting a T-Rex, and one of the players had a movement. He was a monk. He's like, I'm running away. Okay. T-Rex teleports to you. What the frick? He teleports? I'm like, yeah, he's just going to teleport to you, eat you. Yeah. No freaking way. I'm like, welcome to the world of craziness, man. That was hilarious because that was a funny moment.
Yeah.
That and the little, they had these little, I don't know if they were like little koala bear looking things. but they grab onto you, and they're immune to basically physical damage.
Okay.
But when they grab onto you, they basically disintegrate your armor, which is not good when you're talking fighters. Or there's all kinds of new plants that you get eaten and choked, and oh, it's so good. There's many, many different tombs you go into, and puzzles and traps and mysteries.
This is going to be we're going to go a little bit longer with this episode.
Yeah.
There's so much more to cover.
Yeah.
Another second edition ones I would like to talk about.
Okay, we're going back.
My all-time favorite setting.
Okay.
You know what it is.
Okay.
Planescape.
Oh, yeah.
The multiplanar setting. City of Sigil. Sigil, if you're a native of Sigil.
I was trying to think of something Dark Sun related, but
don't get started.
Okay, no, we won't go down there because that's we don't talk about Dark Sun. Beep beep beep. I'll beep that out.
So
Planescape.
There's a super module that, in my opinion, rivals that of the Village of Hamlet,
right?
Temple of Elemental Evil, Slave Lords, Giant Lords,
right?
Wrath of the Spider Queen, and it starts out with the Great Modron March.
You were going to run that for us at one point.
I ran it, but we only had 3 players.
And and then
make it all the time.
The players couldn't make it all the time. Yeah, that was a bummer.
So the Great Modron March.
We should go back to that. We have enough players to do.
I would run it.
We have enough players to do.
I would run it.
I would love to be in that
because
that was so good to start off with.
And I don't want to spoil anything because I might.
No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead though. We can talk.
But the original part of it is essentially every great cycle.
Yep.
So the Modrons are the super lawful, super concrete, sequential, organized beings.
Right.
And every so many years, I think it's 375.
Right.
Coinciding with the cyclical matching of the planes, they do a march around all the other planes.
Right.
No one knows why they do it. They just do it.
One of the mystery reasons, yeah.
So what happens is in this module, they start marching 123 years too early.
Which is not good.
No one knows why.
Right.
Everything's pure chaos. No one's ready for it. They demolish buildings. They walk over people in the streets.
Right.
It is just utter chaos. Completely and utterly opposite aligned to what it should be going on. So what ends up happening is, at the end of the module, you find out the reason why.
I never got that far, unfortunately.
And then it goes into this other module, the super module, called Dead Gods.
Okay.
And it takes you into the astral sea.
Oof.
And you end up looking for the corpse of the dead god. So when gods die, when they lose all their believers, they float to the astral plane, their bodies do. And a lot of times, the Githyanki and the denizens of the astral plane will populate these bodies like they're giant asteroids or planets. And they'll build cities on them and stuff like that. It's crazy.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
But long story short, what they end up doing is they end up bringing back someone that was killed off in the lore, a major power, like a huge, massive power.
Okay.
That is like one of the quintessential D&D bad guys. He was killed off at the end of 1st edition.
Right.
And early 2nd edition. He gets resurrected through all his machinations, and you find out he's behind everything with the Modron March and all these things, and that's what Dead Gods is about.
That's interesting.
And it's very, very cool.
Right.
Lots of, like, high-brained critical thinking is required.
I don't want to be part of that one. My brain didn't work that hard.
It's pretty impressive.
That sounds fun.
And the other thing I want to talk about is some of the lesser-known modules, the Planescape setting.
Okay.
There's one where you are hired by a paladin to go into hell to retrieve a Holy Avenger sword.
Okay.
And it is absolutely wild.
I imagine it would be.
There's another one where you are hired by a pit fiend in disguise.
Okay.
And you go into the abyss.
I might have been in that one before.
And you have to recover a chaos ship.
Right.
Which are these big spelljammer ships.
Yeah.
I mean, it crosses so many lines. It's so impressive.
It's good. Spelljammer was fun.
And like there's so many. Oh, and then the Tales from the Infinite Staircase.
Okay.
Which is an anthology.
Right.
You can sprinkle it in here and there. You can run the whole thing.
Right.
It's very open-ended. But what it does is it gives the players a access point to the multiverse, much like the Village of Hamlet and the Keep on the Borderlands gave you a springboard to everything else. It's a springboard module.
Right. You know, 5th Ed has something similar to that.
What's that?
It is called Candlekeep Mysteries.
Oh, yeah. They actually have a bunch of anthologies.
Let's see here. Where's the Candlekeep? What's it called?
It's Candlekeep Mysteries.
Yeah, and inside there, you can spend your whole life as a character. Once you get into Candlekeep, because you have to have unique writing. Once you're in there, you can spend your whole life in there.
Reading.
But Candlekeep is full of extra-dimensional portals.
Yep.
That don't let you leave Candlekeep, per se. But the portals are basically encapsulated worlds inside of
demiplanes.
Yeah, something along that lines. And so, like, in one of the first ones you go into, you're inside of a powerful wizard's mansion where when she stays in Candlekeep, she doesn't have to stay in the hotel or on base hotel. She can just go into her own little portal dimensional world and live in her mansion that's already there.
Her morning cadence made it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but it's permanent. So she just walks in and goes. But they have these all over the place, and they can appear anywhere.
Yep.
Because so many wizards have just kept their whole lives in Candlekeep. It's really fun.
So some of the best anthology ones, actually, sorry it took so long to get to this, but if you want a good collection of classic modules, Tales from the Yawning Portal is a good one.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's a good one.
Because that one
actually goes through a lot of
like White Plume Mountain.
Yep. Converted over. Yeah, a lot of the old stuff converted to 5th Ed.
It has some of the most classic D&D modules reprinted for 5th edition. And it's basically like storytelling while you're at the Yawning Portal.
Right.
The Ghosts of Saltmarsh is another anthology.
Yep, that one, I think they made a book for that too, didn't they?
Yep, Ghosts of Saltmarsh, yep.
Yeah, that was from something else. Oh, no, that's just anthology, yeah.
Yep, and what it is you start in this town of Saltmarsh, and it has all the rules for sailing and ship-based combat and all that fun stuff. Another one that's kind of an homage to Tales from the Outer Planes, which is a 1st edition anthology, is Journeys to the Radiant Citadel. It's Adventures in the Ethereal Plane.
This one actually has Against the Giants in it.
Yep.
Hidden Shrine of Tamachan.
Yep, there's many classic ones in that one.
Gosh.
So basically, like,
I want to play 5th Ed again.
There's so many good.
They are. They got a lot of stuff that's so good. It's just.
The last one I want to talk about.
Yep, one more. Let's do it.
Is I believe it's.
Could have broke this into part 2.
Tales from the Outer Planes.
That sounds familiar.
And I don't think you'll have this one.
Oh, well, not with me, I don't.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, so Tales from the Outer Planes is an anthology for 1st editions. It's OP1. It's the very first play. It was released alongside the Manual of the Planes.
Yep.
And it has levels all the way up to 11 plus.
Right.
And it starts out with a wild goose chase. You start at the World Serpent Inn, which is basically your. You can place it anywhere you want, but it's a multi-dimensional nexus.
Gotcha.
There's so many cool adventures. There's some that take you to prime material worlds.
Right.
There's some that take you to the ethereal, to the plane of air, water, fire, earth, to the astral plane, to the 7 heavens, Olympus, to the abyss, and to the 9 hells. It covers so many different things, and it's all based around this World Serpent Inn.
Right.
And the main character of the World Serpent Inn is this guy named Mitchifer.
Okay.
And he's this big, rotund man with a white beard, white hair, this big laugh, deep laugh, and he has a bunch of short elves running around, dressed in red and green garb.
Yep.
Around the inn, serving everybody. He's basically Santa Claus.
Right. Yep.
And
nice.
It's phenomenal. It's one of the coolest. It's what got me into Planescape and the planar settings.
That's pretty cool.
And there's so many names on it that designed it and stuff like that.
Well, back then everybody got in on stuff because they wanted every module. They wanted the next stuff to be better than the first. So they're like, "Hey, who did this? We'll call him up and see if he'll come over and help make this one."
And if I remember right, you can actually buy it secondhand now, and it's not super inflated like a lot of the other ones.
Right.
Like a lot of the Planescape stuff I owned, I sold it off.
Right.
It had basically gone up 400% in value.
Yeah, well, it's...
Tales of the Outer Planes you could pick up for like $30.
Right.
It is worth the read. It will give you tons of ideas if you're ever thinking about running a planar campaign. But that's what I got. I think that's a huge breadth and depth of
that was a lot.
Modules.
There was a lot of stuff there. Can't really add anything to that right now.
Okay.
Because you already said it all.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Later.